Well, the results are in, and apparently more people chose to play as Alexios instead of Kassandra in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Now, I personally didn't really understand what all the hype was about when they announced that Kassandra was going to be a playable character from beginning until end in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I mean, it's cool, it's impressive as fuck because of all the voice acting that they had to do for both Alexios and Kassandra. It's an impressive feat. But if we're talking on the grounds alone that just because she's a woman, this is, oh my god, it's amazing, I can't get on board with that. Because literally it's only groundbreaking because you can play as the woman from the beginning until the end. And I'd like to believe in 2018 the whole concept of female protagonists being an oh my god, this is amazing situation is kind of done. It's a regular occurrence now, you know? And it's also not the first female playable character in Assassin's Creed either, because we had Aveline in the Assassin's Creed 3 DLC. Which was a damn shame because this was already after I got burned by Ubisoft season passes in the past, so I didn't really get a chance to try that out. I want to, maybe I will go back and try that out at some point, but Aveline was awesome, and I know there was a heavy clamor for people wanting to play as Elise when Assassin's Creed Unity was announced, because the trailer kind of implicated that she would be playable. A lot of people assumed that she was going to be, and then she didn't end up being playable in the main story. Now, I don't know if they ever did a DLC where you could play as her. I already explained my whole DLC situation with Ubisoft games, so maybe they did, but the one that personally disappointed me the most was when they announced Assassin's Creed China. I was like, oh my god, it's gonna be great, climbing the Great Wall and all that business. Then the concept art came out for Shao Jun, and it's like, oh, playable Chinese female character, this is gonna be so goddamn awesome. Then Ubisoft comes to pull the rug from under our feet and tell us that it's not a real Assassin's Creed game, it's a spin-off called Assassin's Creed Chronicles. That gave me blue balls like a mother. Anyway, Elise being playable from beginning to end would have been a mind-blowing situation because there was definitely a lot more demand for it at the time. This was when there was not an onslaught of female protagonists to come for the following years. But that ship sailed, and we had Syndicate where you were able to switch between Jacob and Evie Frye, which I kind of feel like was a direct response to people crying about not having been able to play as Elise. Funny how that works out, right? But generally, the unfortunate part was Syndicate was kind of at the end of everybody's burnout with the Assassin's Creed series overall. Although the reception to Evie's character was still generally positive from everything that I've read. But here we are now with Assassin's Creed Odyssey, the first game in the Assassin's Creed franchise that lets you pick between a male or female character at the beginning of the game, Alexios or Kassandra, siblings under the bloodline of Leonidas. And honestly, I thought the concept worked. Again, it was not the most groundbreaking thing in the world, so I don't know why people overhyped this idea, but the concept worked. Because from what I understand, the story is still coherent no matter who you pick. If you pick one, then the other sibling does the other side of the story and vice versa. So after a few months, it looks like director of Assassin's Creed Odyssey Scott Phillips was interviewed regarding the statistics behind this whole choice they give you at the beginning of the game. This article from Destructoid reads, Phillips notes that although the split ended up being 2/3 Alexios and 1/3 Kassandra, that number actually surprised him. He clarifies that during playtest the split was roughly 50-50, and that in the end he even thought that there would be a little bit more Kassandra. Phillips shares that beyond that initial dichotomy, all of the rest of the player choices surprised the team. Now before I proceed, I would just like to note that them keeping track of the player choices is pretty cool, because it lets them actually improve Assassin's Creed moving forward. I kind of wish this information was open to the public, because I often wonder when I make choices in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I'm like, I wonder how many people actually picked this option. Like there's this one where somebody stole Hippocrates' notes, and I'm like, yo, he needs his notes to treat his goddamn patients, Doge. And he's like, nah man, I gotta treat my patients first. And I'm like, nah, I ain't got time for this. So I punched him in the face and dragged his ass to Hippocrates.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I know for a goddamn fact not a lot of people picked that option. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure why he's so surprised about the 2/3 Alexios, 1/3 Kassandra thing. I mean, he mentions in the playtest that the split was roughly 50-50. I'm actually surprised about that. I thought it would be closer to like 60-40, 70-30 towards Kassandra during the playtest, because it's a hip new thing, right? Playable female character from the beginning, so people are gonna see what that is all about during the playtest. But once they get their hands on the thing, also a lot of people wanted to report on it, so there's that. Which, again, makes it surprising that it was only 50-50, but once they get their hands on the actual game and they have to play from beginning until end, they're gonna pick the character they can relate to more. And I know what you guys are gonna say. If you've been watching my videos for a while, you're gonna say, well, Xaenca, I thought that you said representation does not matter. I thought you said you should be able to relate to people because they're people. Well, yeah, but if you can choose, you're obviously going to pick the one that you feel like you'll be able to relate to more. Like in my case, the choice is between a male or a female. I'm a male, so I'm gonna pick the male. And not even everybody feels this way. Some dudes will pick the chick because they feel like it will be a more interesting story that way. That's fine too. I have some friends, and I've seen this argument thrown out a lot online, is I would rather stare at a female the entire time than stare at a dude. It's a little bit weird, but yeah, whatever floats your boat, man. The whole point here is that there is a choice. We get to choose. So we're going to choose who we feel is the most appropriate to play the game with. Now, if there was no choice, I wouldn't care. If you told me that this game was only Kassandra and that is it, no ifs, ands, or buts about it, I don't give a shit. I'm still gonna play the game. I'm not gonna be like, well, I can't play this game now because I can't play as a male. Of course not. That would be so fucking stupid. But I mean, I know that they're planning to make all future Assassin's Creeds have a female option. This also coming from Scott Phillips in an interview back in September where he was asked about the whole female playable character thing. This is what he had to say. I think it would be a mistake to limit our players, limit our fan base from as many people as possible. I don't know why we would go back. We should continue pushing in this direction. Bring in more players, more fans to enjoy this experience and make it their own experience. To which I completely agree. I mean, I have no issue with you being able to pick as a male or a female as long as it does not hamper the story in any way. In fact, if you sit there and tell me that it would be better for the story if you could only pick the female, fuck it, go ahead, make the game where you can only pick the female. I have no problems with that. It's funny because this whole thing reminds me of the whole Elise thing again that we were talking about earlier, but back during Assassin's Creed Unity when we finally found out that we would not be able to play as Elise, all the outcry resulted in Ubisoft having to make a response, which did not go down well at all. James Therian, I hope I'm not butchering that, but James Therian, the technical director of Assassin's Creed Unity, explained, "It was on our feature list until not too long ago, but it's a question of focus and production. So we wanted to make sure we had the best experience for the character. A female character means that you have to redo a lot of animation, a lot of costumes. It would have doubled the work on those things. Again, it's not a question of philosophy or choice in this case at all. It was a question of focus and a question of production. Yes, we have tons of resources, but we're putting them into this game and we have huge teams, 9 studios working on this game, and we need all of those people to make what we are doing here. TLDR, we did not make Elise playable because it would take too much work. And that's why I say that Evie was a direct response to that backlash, because my god did they change their minds quickly. Because the whole thing that was annoying about that, by the way, just to side note, is that they already had playable females in the multiplayer mode, so the whole nonsense about animations and costumes and all that, get the fuck out of here. But anyway, I picked Alexios, and in actuality, I think it's a better option because it makes Kassandra out to be a complete badass. Goddamn. I don't want to give too many spoilers here, but the whole thing, the one with the cultists and the masks, and the sibling makes the first appearance, because obviously if you pick one, then the other one shows up. It just makes it so much better that it's a woman doing that. It's like, god damn, that is hardcore. That is fucking hardcore. Which unfortunately gives me like mixed feelings about replaying the game as Kassandra, because seeing her in that light works so well in my opinion that I don't want to see her in a not antagonistic light, I guess. So I don't know, maybe I will, maybe I won't. But at the end of the day, it's not surprising that 2/3 picked Alexios and 1/3 picked Kassandra. As much as SJW media would like you to believe, the split between gamers is not 50-50. There are a lot more female gamers now, and I think that is cool as fuck. But more often than not, the type of games that girls like to play are not the same games that guys like to play. And I'm sure there's a ton of girls that love Assassin's Creed, been playing from the beginning and have been die-hard fans, but you cannot deny that Assassin's Creed is one of those franchises that males like more than females do. It's just the way it is. Maybe that will change in the future with this whole being able to pick between male and female with all future Assassin's Creed games. I think it's a step in the right direction. It might very well be 50-50 or somewhere around there in the future. Who knows? but for right now, there's nothing surprising about 2/3 Alexios, 1/3 Kassandra. But what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button and share this video with whoever you want to share with. If you're new around here, subscribe and notifications to be notified about all upcoming videos. I do these gaming news and discussion videos at least once a week, so make sure to subscribe and ring that bell to stay on top of that. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.